Hello everyone, I'm Trey.
And I'm Drew.
And this is our video of the short story To Build a Fire by Jack London.
The point of this video is to explain to you guys the theme of Jack London's story.
In a satirical way, of course, because we have to make it funny here and there.
So I hope you guys enjoy our take on To Build a Fire.
An unnamed man is making his way through the white snow of Alaska, and it is very cold out. But he's not concerned about the cold or the lack of sunlight, but that's not because he's used to it. It's because he's a newcomer to the Yukon. The man's trouble is that he is without imagination. See, the man knows the day is cold, but he doesn't really spend any time wondering about how his frail human body will stand up to it. He doesn't seem to grasp how tiny and ant-like he is in this giant abyss of Arctic snow. Spitting into the air, the man hears a sharp crackle and realizes that his saliva has frozen before hitting the snow. This means that it must be colder than 50 degrees below zero. The man is heading for a mining camp on Henderson Creek, where a bunch of his buddies are waiting for him with a nice fire and some tasty bacon. Traveling alongside the man is a native husky, which is closer to a wolf than your average dog. The husky isn't at all happy about traveling in such chilly weather, but it stays on the man's heels, hoping that the man will soon stop to make a nice cozy fire. When he finally reaches Henderson Creek, the man starts walking along the ice. Always the gentleman, the man decides to send the dog ahead of him. As expected, the dog breaks through the ice and gets its legs wet. The man takes off his gloves and helps get the ice off the animal's feet because the ice is frozen in between the dog's toes, and is surprised by how quickly his fingers go numb when he takes them out of his mittens. After the long events of the day, the man decides to stop to build a fire.
That's the title!
Once the fire gets going, the man whips out his half-frozen biscuit and chows down. As the man takes a break, he thinks about an old man from Sulphur Creek who told him that folks should never travel alone in the Yukon, especially when it's colder than 50 degrees below zero. But he thinks the old-timer's a little too womanish and gives him a big pat on the back for being a real man. Of course, when he tries to build his next fire, he can barely grip a twig with his fingers. Yeah, super manly. The man gets another fire going, but he's made a mistake by building it under a spruce tree. When he keeps pulling twigs off the tree, he shakes the thing so that a bunch of snow falls off his branches and buries his fire. He almost freaks out at his bad luck, but stays calm and starts to build another fire. The man has more trouble this time around because his fingers are so numb he can't pull a single match away from his pack of 70. He tears one out with his teeth, but when he tries to hold the lit match to a piece of birch bark, the smoke goes up his nose and almost makes him cough up a lung. After a long, hard day, he started to wonder if the old-timer from Sulphur Creek might have been right about this never travel alone business. But when it seems like he's out of options, the man gets a crazy idea and starts to look at his dog as if it were a giant mitten. Next thing you know, he tackles the dog, only to realize that there's no way he can kill the animal. He can't use his hands to grab a knife or strangle the thing, so he gives up, and the insulted dog runs 40 feet away and stops there to watch the man. After a long day, the man decides to sit down and think about what has happened. After sitting there contemplating for a couple minutes, he realized there's probably a pretty good chance he's going to die. And his thoughts got the better of him, so he got up and took off in the direction of the camp. After running for a couple minutes, he feels his body start to heat up and grows optimistic. But then he runs out of gas and realizes that he'll never make it. He feels ashamed for running around like a schmuck, so he decides to meet death with dignity. Lying down in the deep snow, the man starts to drift off into sleep. As the man dies, he has a vision of himself and all his buddies crowding around his dead body. And he thinks of the old man who warned him against going out into the Yukon alone, where it's dangerous and nature's unforgiving. You see, the point of the story is, like I just said, nature is unforgiving. You cannot underestimate what nature will do to the surrounding area or yourself, and you should never overestimate your capabilities.
Because nature's an all-powerful being. It's indifferent towards humanity. It doesn't care what it does. It does what it wants to who it wants when it wants.
So we hope you guys understood our message. We might have made it a little funny here and there, but the point of the story was what we just said, and that's what we want you guys to understand. So thank you for watching, and please stay safe.